Okay, we got a lot to unpack in this episode. Jesus Christ. It was good. Really good. But then again, it rolls off some very concerning questions, some pet peeves, all of that stuff. But let's just start from, of course, the beginning. Mine is telling the story of the Three Little Pigs. And boy, did I reminisce. I haven't heard the story of Three Little Pigs in years, ages. I'm surprised no one's brought it up after all this time. Someone tried to do a reimagining of it. And you know my two favorite stories of the Three Little Pig takes is the one where the wolf is telling his side of the story, and it's how him getting a cup of sugar for his mom, and he's blowing down everyone's houses on accident and eating the pig. But all the pigs are jerks. Then there is the one where it's about the three little wolves and it's the big bad pig, and where they use very powerful houses, but the pig use creative ways to destroy the houses, while they use the last method of flowers, and the pig becomes their friend. So I'm like, come on, man, we need a new reimagining of the three little pigs for the kids and myself, I guess. Anyways, when mine was telling the story of the Three Little Pigs and how not even Wilma or Rosia knew anything about pigs and wolves, despite how old they are, it shocked me in a way. Like, yo, you guys are making these people so ignorant. This corrupted system is to keep these people blind. They keep the mind, but they take the mind but let them keep the body. Just like Denzel Washington said in the movie The Great Debaters. That is how they keep these people ignorant under their thumb. They make sure they have less education as possible. But of course, mind happening, letting them be more educated, some eyebrows might be rosing sooner or later. But still, you don't know what a pig or wolf is? Come on, someone had to talk about something. I understand never seeing anything in person. I know Komodo dragon, but I've never seen one in person. I know a lot of stuff I haven't seen in person. But the fact that you don't know anything about it, even something that you probably they eat, a pig or something, they don't know. First I thought, oh, wait, there are no pigs and wolves in this world. No, they just don't know about it. They're completely hid in the dark about so many things about the world. I guess they're content to live and die inside a place, living under the power of the nobles. And I gotta say, maybe it's a good thing that the nobles die out. Because if this is what's happening, maybe it's for the best. Like, gosh, who would want to live in that kind of truly impressive a society where you are completely ignorant about anything and everything? Ugh. So, mine wants to make the picture book. She's finally on to that part, finally. And there's also an episode that's very directed at Wilma as well. Wilma! Freaking Fred Flintstone. Anyways, she couldn't buy ink. Apparently, in this world, that world they live in, ink is very, very expensive. More expensive than buying out a shop for you to work at. More expensive than buying noble clothes. More expensive than buying big ingredients, even though you're helping out making restaurants and making products, you're having your own business, and you're making lots and lots of profit, but for some reason, mine can't buy ink. I don't know, that kind of stole upon me. Maybe because back then, ink was way too hard to make. Then again, people had to make books bit by bit. There was no copy machine just yet. But still, that is nuts. So she had to make it. So she's out on her way, trying to find so many different ways to make ink. Of course, by using soot. So she had the nobles clean out the chimneys. And then this goes right direct with the head priest, where he had another conversation with her. And he talked about something that kind of gets to me with most isekais that Japan does, or anything where the older person gets into a child's body, is how they don't know how to act like a child or be like it. He asked mine, how do you know all these things? How are you to make all these things? Who are you? Another question I was asked by her before, and she said it was in a dream of another world and another life. In a way, she is not lying. Imagine if there have been stories and reports in real life and documentaries where people had through an accident and they had dreams of another life that was not their own, but probably of past selves. So the theory of reincarnation is still up in the air. Nonetheless, it's something that a lot of isekais fail to do, is how they have these inventions. When you go to an isekai, people like it where the main character has to start a new life, but yet they have to adapt to that world. I mean, they have to go through that concept, but for some reason, in most isekais today, the person goes to that world and they, for some reason, can do all these ideas from their world. With being a loser, with being a nerd most of the time, without having no whatsoever construction. Pretty much most nerds and geeks and neats don't know nothing about how to make anything. They buy everything. We live in the age of convenience. So the fact that they know how to make these things without even knowing how they were made in the first place makes no sense to me. That always struck me. Mine is different because her past life, she knew how to do these things. She was very big in the arts and crafts. So she studied up on all these things. She's a big fan of that. She was that kind of nerd. She loved the structure. So hers is an excuse. Her problem is that she couldn't get her hands on the materials. She had to make them from scratch. And she had to do tons of trial and error to get it right. In a way, Mushoku Tensei did this too. When Rudius was trying to find a way to bring Japanese food into that world, it wasn't eating. Heck, it was harder just to find rice, for God's sakes. And another thing is when most of these guys bring the Japanese food into the world, it makes no sense to me, because the point is the main character is to adapt to that world. So every time I do bring in the Japanese food, people are like, oh my god, it's so amazing, this is the best thing I ever tasted. But then again, with Rudius and them, when they made Japanese food, when Aisha made the rice balls, no one liked them but him. Or he put the egg over whatever it is he was making. Someone got a tummy ache or something about it. I like that realism with it, how when people try different kinds of foods most of the time, especially if they're foreign, like, their body is not going to be adjusted to that kind of food yet. But why am I talking about this? Is because it's how with mine, and how she's bringing her ideas from her world into this world. And I like it how she does it with trial and error. Not everyone's used to the idea. Not everyone's immediately on for the idea. People are skeptic about it, and that makes sense. Something that a lot of people fail to do with their writing. For some reason, when a Japanese person does this, or when it comes to having a character from the other world, they ask them how they know all these things. The problem is that they don't act like on it. When you're watching a regular show here in America where there's a person who's turned to a kid or possessing a kid, they learn to adapt to act like a kid in a way. Even some horror movies, hell, even The Orphan, where they learn to act like a kid or stuff like that, or no one can tell that they're actually an adult or they have the mind of an adult. They learn to do that. They don't just slip up by keep trying to throw all these ideas at people without people suspecting them who they are. So, I'm going to get off of this I'm sorry, I knew this was going to tangent, I had to get off of that. So anyways, she told her piece, and then we move on with Wemma. Wemma trying to, past her trauma in a way. This was a good growing experience for her to try new things. She had to move on from her past, where a little boy was just trying to, I don't know if it was a little boy or a girl, can't tell, was trying to drag her off the studio. She got scared. I guess she didn't want to be around the man in a way. So which questions me, was she tricked, or was she, forced into the situation that she was in her past? As I would like to know. But I guess that doesn't matter, because to her it's so haunting experience. So she needs to find a way to get past it, which she learns to do so in this episode, which is good for her. She finally grew as a person once more. She had to face her fears, and because of that, she was able to help out with this picture book. Now, what really made this episode really nice in the end is where mine finally held the book in her hands. 2 years. 2 years of trial and error. So many obstacles. She finally made her book. Her first book. And she is happy for it. She finally did it. And now she has to make many, many more books for people to read. This is just the beginning for mine in her journey as a bookworm. And I enjoy that very much. There ain't no isekai like Ascendance of a Bookworm. There really isn't. It's very special in its own way. And it teaches you a lesson and see a character truly grow in a way. And I love that. It's something that a lot of isekais are missing. And it's sad. Well, anyways, I won't stay on this too long. I'm already past the time limit. So that's all I got for it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrownxox on Anime. Signing out.